Hi, I'm Dr. John Young, Medical Director here at Foundational Health Center in Largo, Florida. There's a movie, whole series with Michael J. Fox, Back to the Future. Remember that one? And in one of the sequels, I think it was Biff, got transported back to history, but had an almanac. And so he knew who was going to win the World Series, the Kentucky Derby. So made all these bets because he knew what was going to happen and won tons of money. And Michael J. Fox had to go back and correct other history. Otherwise, history's going to be ruined or whatever. But I've always thought that'd be kind of cool. I'd like to know the lottery numbers so I could win the billions and billions. But people often come to me and say, listen, John, you're my only hope. Regular medicine has told me, we all have to die, just kind of get used to the pain, whatever. And they say, I'm coming to you because a lot of my friends have said, if your doctor can't figure you out, John usually can. And it's not because I am so smart. Trust me. My sisters will tell you I'm not at all. But years ago, when I was reading the Journal of American Medical Association, the New England Journal of Medicine, all of that, they always talked about the drugs and what to do right now. When I started reading the biochemistry journals, or the journals of cellular and molecular biochemistry, I found out that what I was reading in there is 20 years ahead of what's going to happen in medicine down the road. I'm way looking at the future by reading these journals. And that's how I have discovered so much in my practice. Why Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, small fiber neuropathy, ALS, I love to treat because they talked about these diseases years ago, and I started doing what these journals said, and people started getting better. It's laid out right there. But because the pharmaceutical companies haven't been able to come up with a drug to really make tons of money, it's never going to be taught to these physicians. It's never going to be taught in medical school. So, if when you're with your doctor, you might suggest, I know you tell me that disease has no cure, but could you start reading some of these journals and maybe seeing if there's something we can do? It's just been great to see these patients. I was recently told by a guy, I said, listen, I've done this study, and 75% of the Parkinson's and 75% of the Alzheimer's patients in this study I did, you can hardly tell they have Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. They're just about perfectly normal. John, don't go on, because you're going to go on the air and they're going to bring in the chief neurologist for, let's say, a big university, and he's going to say, John's a nice guy. I'm the head of neurology at this big university. There is no cure or treatment. These people just slowly die away. Their brains fall apart. Then when Sloan Kettering and University of California came out and said, we've had a 75% improvement in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's patients by doing something, then I said, I am going to come out, because now the big institutions are starting to realize, looking at biochemistry, that these diseases can get better. Now, they spend about $50,000 to do it. I did it for about $8,000. They weren't interested in how I did it, although it was almost exactly what they did, but I found a cheaper way to do it. It is about the money. But the answers to a lot of the chronic illnesses that patients are dealing with right now have already been dealt with in the journals written 10, 20 years ago. no one's putting it into practice. I've started doing it, and it's completely changed medicine for us here at Foundational Health Center. Talk to you later.